What's going on, y'all? My name is Tommy. Welcome back to the channel. This week on min-maxing for fun and profit by request, an old 1E request to build around the Aromaphile Mesmerist. We're multi-classing 1E like it's gone out of style. Years ago, I was going to say, this week I present, oh my god. Can I just be cool on the internet for 2 seconds? This week, I present the Flowery Flashbang. If you're liking what you see, like, subscribe, ding the bell. Stay caught up on all your stuff. Remember, Patreon is the #1 way to keep me cranking out all of these videos. Get you Google Sheets with all of my 1st edition, 2nd edition Starfinder builds, and can get you in some really cool games. But for now, let's dive in. Okie dokie. So the Aromaphile is a really interesting mesmerist archetype. It trades out their stare stuff to, rather than look into my eyes, play with people's sense of smell by, in the case of the way it was written, using the Goron's innate flower power to produce a hypnotic aroma. Literally, that's what the ability is called. Hell of a segue, Tommy. Thanks, Tommy. As a swift action, an Aromaphile can use unique aspects of Goron biology. For what it's worth, I feel like you could snap your fingers and say magic, and this would work for any like ancestry you wanted to play. I'm gonna lean into the Goron stuff because like I don't think I've ever built a Goron before and I kind of want to, but y'all know what it is in this house. Anyway, around it, this releases an intoxicating burst in a 10-foot radius centered on the Aromaphile. All creatures within the area, as well as creatures with scent out to 30 feet, take a -2 penalty on their will saves. This becomes a -3 at level 8. The aroma hovers around the Aromaphile, moving with them, and lasts for a minute. You gotta breathe to be effective. It's poison if you hold your breath, if you don't breathe, if it's a zombie, if it's a construct, if it's a flesh golem. They're immune. The debilitating aura gets the painful stare debuffs as well. These effects are the same as those listed under bold stare. They can affect creatures affected by the aroma as long as they're affected by it. The Aromaphile's touch treatment can't remove confused, cowering, or stunned. It can't break enchantments, but it can remove fatigue. It also can cause a target to become fascinated by the aroma. At 6th, do a calm emotions effect, do a eat shit barbarian effect. At 10th, it can stun folks, and at 14th, it can do deep slumber. Save that the hit die limit is equal to the Aromaphile's level +2. The will save to negate these is 10 plus half the Aromaphile's level plus the Aromaphile's Cha, and on a fail, they gain the condition for a number of rounds equal to the Aromaphile's level. Each round the target is affected, they can make a will save. This has a lot of long-term potential and scales really well. But we'll only be taking out to Mesmerist 8 this time. This is really good, this scales really well, and it makes for the bones for a really good debuff gish. Yeah, we're gonna multi-class the shit out of this one. We'll take 8 levels of, and then 12 levels of Ninja. Remember that part where I said I was gonna lean into Goron things? Yeah, we're gonna go Petal Ninja. The Petal Ninja, beginning at 2nd level, can spend a key point to create a burst of flower petals in a 15-foot radius centered on a point within 20 feet. This lasts for a number of rounds equal to half the Petal Ninja's level. When this happens, the Petal Ninja forgoes a number of sneak attack dice to get an effect out of the burst. Those dice are unavailable for the duration. If you need to save, the DC is 10 plus twice the number of sneak attack dice expended, plus the Petal Ninja's Cha. You can do lesser things if you spend more, so like if you want to do the baby effect but have a higher save, more power to you. Burn 1 sneak attack die, and creatures in the radius gain concealment. Burn 2, and it's a will save or be dazzled for a d6 rounds. Burn 3, it's as 2, but creatures are sickened. Burn 4 as 2, creatures are fascinated on failed saves, I should say. Burn 5, they're staggered, and burn 6, they're nauseated. This is huge. I really wish there was something that said you could ignore concealment by a shower of blossoms. Talk to your druid friend. Fairy Fire, it's really useful. And on top of that, at level 4, by turning into a burst of blossoms and spending a point from their key pool, a Petal Ninja can take the form of a cloud of blossoms, becoming insubstantial for a round as per gaseous form. At 8th level, this becomes 1 plus Cha rounds. At 6th level, as a move action, the Petal Ninja gains the ability to change the lighting within a 30-foot emanation around them by 1 point per key point spent. Honorable mention the Shadow Dancer. This would be so good to just snap your fingers, get hide in plain sight. Ugh. I hate that. I love that. But I wanted to have more sneak attack dice to do the thing that this build wants to do. Debuff the holy hells out of everybody on the board and then mop them up. An interesting opening gambit when you can snap your fingers and drop a giant debuff on everyone who then can't see the team, who then has to run out at the team and then run into your aura, get further debuffed, and then you guys clean house. A flowery flashbang, if you will. But for our traits today, reactionary, you want to go first to get set up. Blade of the Society will be a big one. A +1 trait bonus on damage when making sneak attacks. A lot of the choices we will be making today are going to be choices that help us buy back some of the sneak attack dice that we're going to be shutting off. For our ability scores, charisma is going to be the big one, 10 out of 10, because all of your abilities are fueled off your charisma. You want to make sure this starts out as high as possible, if not all the way up, because you want to make sure that the bad guys are failing against you. Dexterity is right behind, because at the end of the day, we're going to want to be not stabbing people, bludgeoning people. More on that in a second. Your constitution and wisdom are important, and the way that we're multi-classing our fort and will don't look too great. Dump your strength, dump your int. Make sure you have enough intelligence to be good at stealth and to be good at use magic device, because we're gonna have to cheat some wands. It's fortunate both mesmerist and ninja get so many goddamn skill ranks. For our feats, at level 1, we'll take ability focused, hypnotic aroma for a +2 to that DC, right? You knew you'd see it. Then at level 3, improved initiative, because well, we got to take it considerably earlier this time. It's really important, I feel like, for this particular concept to want to go first. In an all-stealth party, the ability to start surprise rounds and then flashbang the room, or at this point, start surprise rounds, run up on them after you've activated your aura like a round before, to get the debuffs in place is really big. I often take this at the very end because if you made it this far, why not? But this time we want to go first real bad. Then at level 5, we will take 2-weapon fighting. Oh hey, I forgot to talk about dragon in the room. All of my 1E builds used a modified version of elephant in the room, which let feats with improved or greater variance auto tick up, as well as style feats, as well as all the other shit you saw in elephant in the room follow this card. One of the other ways we'll be redeeming that, oh god, our sneak attack dice is so dumbed down so hard, is by attacking twice. Easy peasy, right? Then double slice at level 7 to get all of your decks into the back of the club, probably, I think. Business end of, bludgeoning end of Kusari Gama, if you really want reach. Your choice of bludgeoning weapon. At level 9, at this point we've gone into ninja. Accomplished sneak attacker helps us, again, get more dice to burn into abilities. Then, the reason that we're taking bludgeoning weapons, y'all already guessed this. Sap Adept to gain a bonus on our damage roll equal to our number of sneak attack dice rolled when using a bludgeoning weapon to deal non-lethal sneak attack damage. Then Sap Master next to whenever you use bludgeoning weapons to deal non-lethal sneak attack damage to a flat-footed opponent. You roll the sneak attack damage twice, you total the results as your non-lethal sneak attack damage for that attack. So if we've burnt all of our sneak attack dice to super debuff, we can then have what remains times 2. This is like the first time that Sap Master feels fair. There are a lot of builds that can just do non-lethal like firearm bullshit and suddenly have double the sneak attack dice, snap their fingers, put somebody to bed. In this case, we're just grabbing it to like stay relevant. We'll next take ability focus Blossom Shower. It's super late, but there's just a lot of other fun stuff I want to get beforehand. +2 to the DC of the thing you do. Easy peasy. We'll next grab extra key to get 2 more key points, because I feel like the ninja just burns through their key like it's candy anyway, with the extra attack and the more moves and everything else we can get up to, and you know, all of the pedal ninja bullshit. The 2 extra points seems real nice. And then lastly, Silent Kill. You need 12 ranks in stealth, easy peasy. We're definitely taking the Assassinate Ninja Master Trick. Whenever you kill a creature during a surprise round, you can attempt a stealth check opposed by the perception check of potential observers to prevent them from noticing you and subsequently identifying you as the assailant. This particular build concept is going to take a couple of assumptions. The first of which, you have a frank conversation with your DM about how you're building a stealthy, sneaky, aroundy, debuffy thing that's good at what it does, but it's not like optimized to the fucking nines. And you've got a little time for intrigue, and you've got a little time for moving around on quiet, sneaky, stealthy missions. The second of which we'll assume in those quiet, sneaky, stealthy missions, you'll fight things that you can in fact do a murder to. Ultimately, this might just be another tool in the toolbox that you'll only use to hit the guard outside the boss room, but everything I'm building lately is just building wide instead of building tall, so like, you expected that from me at this point, I think. For our bold stair stuff, unaided feels so ludicrously fucking staple. The target of your bold stare, aka those who breathe in your foul scent, can no longer flank stuff. Really good when everyone's chasing down the smelly flower trying to stab it. And then disorientation debuffs the attack rolls, because I feel like people are going to be chasing you down and trying to stab you, right? For our mesmerist tricks, at level 1, don't call this the 2E champion reaction. This is totally the fucking 2E champion reaction. Shadow Splinter. When the subject, maybe us, maybe our friend the rogue, takes damage from an attack, the damage is reduced by an amount equal to 3 plus the mesmerist charisma modifier, I mean 3 plus the champion's level. You can see the 2E bones, to a maximum of the total amount of damage the attack deals. Another creature within range of the original attack, so that other dude that's stabbing at you, is affected by a shadow illusion that makes it appear as if the attacker was attacking them instead of you. The second creature takes an amount of damage equal to the amount by which the attack's damage was reduced. This shadow doesn't require a roll to hit and ignores cover and concealment, but the target can disbelieve the illusion. If they succeed, it doesn't take damage, or believe that the guy who hits you hit them. Chaos and confusion. I fucking love it. Not only does this help us pad out that D8 hit dice that we're running around with, it makes for a really good what the fuck man kind of moment, and like that's why we play TTRPGs. Psychosomatic Surge next. When the subject takes damage, the subject gains a number of temp HP equal to half the mesmerist level plus a D8, plus an additional D8 if this would put the subject to 0 or fewer hit points. They last for an hour until discharged, or like to get you through the boss fight, basically. This next one assumes we're doing a stealthy, sneaky, infiltration-y party. Mesmeric Pantomime lets the target, when they make a strength or dex-based skill check, stealth, either use the mesmerist bonus on the skill check in place of their own, or get a morale bonus on the check equal to the mesmerist's cha. So like, either you're way better at stuff, or the rogue's way better at stuff when you guys are sneaking through castles and shit, or like, the paladin can hang. Misdirection is triggered when the subject makes an attack or uses a spell that requires an attack roll. You make a bluff check to feint against the target of the attack. This can be used on non-melee attacks, and if the feint succeeds, the target of the attack is denied its dex to AC against the triggering attack. So, you know, when you're sneak attacking, right? Seems big. Then Compel Alacrity. When a subject begins their turn within an enemy's reach, they can move 10 feet as a free action without provoking, plus 5 feet for every 5 levels the mesmerist possesses, so 15 feet. So run into the flank, or will run into the flank as you need it to be. And then from here forward, it's ninja tricks, a wide portion of which we'll be borrowing from the rogue for, but more on that in a second. Vanishing Trick is first. As a swift action, you can disappear for a round per level as invisibility, so we'll never need to take that spell as a mesmerist, and should we get shaken, you can press this button and enable your class features. Then, borrowing from the rogue, Assault Leader. Once per day, when we miss with an attack on a flanked opponent, we say, "Hey Barbarian, you can make a single melee attack against the opponent as an immediate action," and they get really happy and they swing their greatsword and someone dies. Eerie Disappearance, also borrowing from the rogue. As a full round action, you can move up to your speed. If you successfully reach a location that offers cover or concealment, any creature observing must attempt a perception check opposed by your stealth. On a failed check, they lose track of you and fail to notice where you move to. You don't take a penalty on your checks for moving up to your speed here. At the end of the movement, you can attempt an Intimidate check to demoralize all foes within 60 feet who were aware of you at any point during the, "Oh god, I've got a gaseous form into the air ducts," or like run around behind a box or something. You roll Intimidate once, you compare it to the DC for each opponent. Not only does this give you a, "oh god, hit this button, get out of combat," it also debuffs. And Shaken is like the one debuff we're not throwing around at folks. Shaken, Sickened, Untyped penalty on attack rolls. It's a bad day for everybody who's not you. Then from the Ninja Master Trick, Assassinate. To do this, you have to study for 1 round as a standard action. This probably turns into considerably more rounds. I imagine a lot of proccing this is turning into a cloud of blossoms floating through a very verdant forest, landing somewhere, then demorphing back to yourself, because that takes a standard action to end the effect, right? Then standard action study, then smack them in the head with the bludgeoning weapon of your choice. If the sneak attack is successful, the target must make a DC 10 plus half hit dice plus charisma modifier save or die, at which point later on then we get that stealth check to maybe disappear at the end of the combat. Take out someone who's not the BBEG, but someone who's considerably smaller, stab them in the back, poof away. No one knows you're there, the rest of the team comes in, you blather, rinse, repeat. It's gross. It's real gross. Whilst a gaseous Petal Swarm. I really wish you didn't lose supernatural abilities, because Ghost Step would be super cool when you just floated through the walls, but like it's good when you're just a Goron too. As a swift action, you can pass through walls as if you were a ghost. Any surface 5 foot thick per 20 levels, as if we were incorporeal. Doors. Who fucking needs them? Not you. For our spell casting. First, we gotta hit the staples. It's super important. As an occult caster, if we get shaken, we can no longer fulfill the emotion component. We don't have a lot of spells because we're not running all the way up the casting class, so I feel like potions of remove fear might have to cut it for us. The good news is a lot of the clutch abilities we possess can be turned on, turned off, can be used on the ninja as well, like Vanishing Trick, for example. When you really, really need it, you gotta check the potion. This literally happened in a game of mine not too long ago. Make sure you grab this shit. Glitter Dust seems really good to, when you then throw concealment down, smack onto our enemies so you can sneak attack them, so everybody else can see them. There might be some real niche item somewhere I don't know about that lets you ignore concealment from flower petals, but most of the stuff out there interacts with things like smoke or fog or things of that nature. So unless literally all the marshals will be taking blind fight, having this in your back pocket and like the back pocket of everybody else too seems pretty fucking useful. Make the concealment as one-sided as you can. This is definitely a coordinate with the team kind of build. I think most builds are, but you can definitely shut off your friends just as easy by accident. Don't do that. That would suck. And then for the last thing off our spell list, Sense Vitals. We're going to want to grab this on a potion. We're going to want that potion to be as high of a caster level as we can afford. You chug a lug at rounds per level. This allows you to use any manufactured weapon to make sneak attacks or stack on additional d6s of sneak attack, starting at 1d6 plus 1d6 for every 3 caster levels to a maximum of 5d6 at 15th level. In lower levels, this is extra sneak attack dice that you can burn to do better Petal Storm shit. Then at higher levels, this is making sure we still have the ability to do damage after burning all of our resources. So I gotta shout the community out on this one. Big shout outs to the Dark Lord. I love that I have a community that I can be like, hey, what's this niche fucking spell? How does this work? I really need people to get sent. How do I do that? Well, we do it, friends, with Sensory Amplifier. For us, this is a 3rd level spell, so not gonna have a lot of them in a day, and it's gonna be a while to get there. It's a 10-foot radius emanation centered on you, rounds per level, a will negates. Check this out, this is fucking wild. All living creatures other than you in that emanation gain a +5 bonus on perception checks. Sighted creatures gain low light vision. Creatures with a sense of smell gain scent. This is huge. In addition, the first time each round a creature in the area takes damage, it takes an additional 2d6 points of damage of the same type. The caster doesn't take that damage, but everybody else does, and you're using 2-weapon fighting. That's fucking amazing. Also, this is not an aura. The only place in this spell's description that says that they must be in the area to take effect of the thing is the damage rider, so presumably, if someone moves away from you after they've failed to sensory amplifier, they still have scent, so they still can smell you, so they still can get debuffed. It's really good tech, I really like it. Resilient Reservoir. Likewise, another 3rd level spell. An interesting one too. This is half-elf locked, but this is 2022, also stop blocking things. You cast the spell. Each time you are struck in melee, or by touch spells that deal hit point damage, 1 point of the damage is negated. It's transferred into a reservoir, which cannot exceed your caster level, and as an immediate action, anytime before the spell's duration expires, you can expend a number of points of energy from the reservoir to grab an insight bonus to 1 skill check, attack roll, damage roll, or combat maneuver check. You have to do it before the roll is made. For every 5 caster levels, you can call upon it 1 additional time, and if you go to negative HP while you're under this, the spell automatically releases the magic, and all creatures within a 15-foot radius burst take 1d6 points of force damage per 2 points remaining to a maximum of 10d6 with a reflex save to have it, and spell resistance. This spell does so fucking much. Yeah, negating 1 point of damage isn't a lot, but when you're hit 4 times, negating 4 damage might be life or death. Then you can stab a little bit better, making low rolls turn into hits, or just sit on this and bomb people. Spells that do that much feel just downright stable. I know what I'm taking on all my magi from here forward. Likewise, Burst of Adrenaline, a level 1 spell, gives us a +8 enhancement bonus to our strength, dex, or con as an immediate action when you're about to make a d20 roll based on one of those 3, so like an attack roll with our finessing stuff. You're fatigued for a round after. Isn't it cool that we can remove that ourselves? Or even if we can't, like if this is the I'm throwing this to end the combat, just be fatigued for a round. Next, Smug Narcissism. Lots of really good 3rd level spells highlighted on this one. It's at close range, 10 minutes per level, will negate spell resistance. Good thing they're debuffed if they can smell you. Huh, what's that smell? Things smell funny. I don't see any ninjas in the room. Oh shit, now I'm obsessed with their own importance, talents, and attractiveness. They can't help but look at themselves in every reflective surface at every possible opportunity. In social situations, they talk about how pretty they are or how ugly everyone else is. Man, this is just gonna make you want to punch the bad guys harder. This is tight. Mechanically, this imparts a -2 penalty on all skill checks outside of combat, so like when everybody else is sneaking past. In combat, this forces the target to focus on defense rather than offense. Casting defensive spells rather than offensive spells, fighting defensively, or using total defense, shutting them the fuck off, basically. That's really cool. A lot of this build requires the GM to play in. I think a lot of TTRPGs require the GM to play in, quite frankly. Imagine the enemy caster just burning shield for no reason. Or like, oh shit, I'm in danger, mage armor. Oh shit, I'm in danger, defensive spell. And then everybody can just ignore that. Or suddenly the evoker isn't evoking, but they're fighting defensively, right? I guess if they have Crane style, that sucks. But I mean, if they had Crane style, you have other problems. Then lastly, Spite. It's a 1-round cast, which requires rare inks worth 250 gold, or playing a rogue. Steal some money. Lasts per hours for level. You choose a single touch range spell of 4th level or lower, with a casting time of a standard action or less. There are a bunch on the Mesmerist list, anything from Hold Person to Vampiric Touch and back again. You cast the associated spell as part of this action. You bind it into a defensive ward upon yourself. The next time you're hit by a melee attack or combat maneuver, the stored spell is triggered against the bad guys. It's like spell storing on the armor on the spell slot. All of my gishes take all of these forever, especially when we're trying to do some like roguish damage race thing. This makes the race go that much faster. It's also, as we transition to our key magic items, why I think you should get the spell storing enchantment on your weapons and your armor. Have that extra tech floating around. At the end of the day, got a spell slot left, you'll know what to put in better than me based on what spells you're taking. We're only gonna have up to level 3 spells, and I know I've said Vampiric Touch a lot, but realistically we can't if we want to take all the other spells that I think are cool. Even if this is like command put into a weapon. Oh, you hit me? Sit the fuck down. Forbid action. You hit them, now don't hit me back, that would be rude. Likewise, the Merciful enchantment on whatever bludgeoning weapon you're finessing, so we get an extra d6 of damage, but all the weapons' damage is non-lethal. Oh no, what will we do? Wah! Runestones of power are going to be huge because we have a very limited number of spells per day. Spell lattices will be very helpful, almost crucial, I think, for all the 3rd level spells we have to jam in. The big 6, of course, God, follow this card right up here. I've started using automatic bonus progression in all my 1E games. I forget this exists. So, in the optimized party, this is definitely the point, click, make it dead with a side of debuff, which makes it really cool. Yes ands what the rogue wants to do, as casters so often do. Where would I play this? Now, like I said, there's a couple of very specific things that have to happen. If you're going to be fighting lots of undead or constructs or what have you that are going to be just flat out immune to half of this build, less fun. Likewise, I think a lot of what we do is predicated upon our ability to hide as a swirling burst of leaves. So to speak in adventure paths, Reign of Winter Mummy's Mask, Legacy of Fire, most of Skull and Shackles, probably a bad idea. Turns out in a winter climb, the burst of petals is gonna fucking stand out. That said, anything that takes place in a temperate or tropical area, and in the case of the former, you just don't adventure during the wintertime. Anything that takes place in Varizia, or the parts of Skull and Shackles that take place on islands. Iron Fang Invasion takes place a lot in the forest. Most of Jade Region is fine. Ignore the part where you're in the Crown of the World, I guess. Kingmaker, very certainly. You could hand wave what you're doing as Sylvan shenanigans. This build can shine really, really well. You also, like I said, definitely want to tell your party you're planning on playing this because the debuff is universal. Of note, everyone can hold their breath, and you can hold your breath for a very long time. Number of rounds equal to your con score. So like, unless the 8 con wizard, who shouldn't have had 8 con in the fucking first place, is trying to get in melee, the rest of the marshals should be just fine through combat, or take reach weapons, or God, things like air bubble on potions would be really good. Or, you know, take blind fight if the marshals can shoehorn it in. It's really interesting. I'm definitely putting this on the list of the backups. In all the 1E games I'm playing, I can think of a lot of cool places for this, but that's all the time we have for this one. What do y'all think? Have we built it? Have we played it? Throw it down in the comments. As always, thank y'all so much for watching. We'll see you next time.